Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back at we said we weren't gonna do it, but we said screw it, we're doing it. So uh,
We strategized as well as Ferrari did. And with
yeah,
that,
yeah, no
Jazz,
kidding.
you have some thoughts on what we just saw?
Yeah, well, obviously disappointing race for Ferrari as a whole. Really disappointing for Carlos Sainz after what looked to be like an opportunity for him to really have a good race, considering his his pace this whole weekend, even with the crash, with the issues he had in qualifying, he still was able to possibly get on podium this weekend. That's how good I think his car was looking. So kind of sad to see that. Obviously, bad strategy by Ferrari there at the end with Leclerc. And I think, like you said, Vish, you mentioned that it was a 50-50 thing. I think it was Leclerc, and he mentioned it also in his post-race interview. He was trying to be too aggressive. He screwed up, and he knew that the best he could do was third because he just didn't have the pace to catch up to Checo, apparently. So that was a bit of a screw-up there, and hopefully that's not things to come because we all know that Ferrari has a tendency to do these kind of things recently. And now when things are going so good, now you're going to screw it up. Jesus Christ. But anyways, dominating performance by Red Bull. Max and Checo go P1, P2, and a really surprising yet really nice finish by Lando Norris as well, finishing in the podium. So papaya power there to you guys. So really, I mean, it was a nice. Obviously, the big, I guess the biggest take out of it was Lewis Hamilton. Jeez, poor guy, man. Just sticking behind the AlphaTauris for the whole entire race. So that was tough to see, also.
Yeah, so there's a lot you went through there. I know you have to get going, so thanks for we'll be discussing some of what you laid out for us over the next few minutes. But yeah, thanks for hopping in here real quick and give us your take.
Hey, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. At least I will.
Yeah, well, we'll see everyone on Wednesday.
We'll see everybody
Jazz will
on
be on.
Wednesday.
We'll unpack some of that.
We'll see you guys.
All right, see you, Jess. All right, now he's gone. Let's talk about McLaren. No, I'm just kidding. Let's start with the top here. So Nick, what are your takeaways from this race?
I mean, like you said, it's a shame for Sainz because I feel like he had a great car this weekend, and he definitely could have fought for for a podium spot. So to get him out of the first lap, right into turn two, and him getting stuck in the gravel was just, it was sad. It was sad because I felt like, he, like I said, had the great car. But other than that, probably one of my surprises that I saw in the race was Yuki Tsunoda finishing in the top 10 and going seventh. He had sixth place for a while until Leclerc passed him, I think, in like one of the final two laps of the race. So for me, that was also nice to see. Aston Martin getting double points, so they're on the board for the first time this season. That was also, that was also pretty nice to see from the midfield. And of course, the big one is Lando Norris finishing third, and we got that papaya power going. I told everyone, with a little bit of luck, he could finish third, and he got that luck today and finishes in third. So I am, you know, over the moon for that.
Yeah, we are. Nick and I are definitely Team Papaya. So this was a good day for us. It was a great day for Red Bull. Like they were the class of the field. Even obviously Leclerc and Ferrari. I would say more so Ferrari. Like you just got to tell him, whole station, we're not going to try and get second because they weren't going to win. It's one thing if you're going for the win because there's a bigger point gap. You get that 7 point difference between first and second, but trying to get 3 points, which is the difference between second and third, and doing the undercut and changing tires. If you notice, Norris on down, no one pitted. They were
Right.
fine. You didn't have to pit. They did to try and push the strategy, and it almost worked in that he came out right on Checo. But again, the pace was there in the Red Bull all weekend. He wasn't going to be faster, and it was a gamble to try and get 3 points when you're up 40 in the championship, and then it didn't pay off because you never know how. Yeah, he made a mistake. He was pushing too hard. I think he was probably trying to get the fastest lap. But you never know how a car is going to react to new tires. If you have stuff that's stable, just leaving it as is often a good way to bring the car home. And they decide to push the strategy and where they're sitting in the championship, and the fact that the Red Bull was just that much faster. they probably should have just accepted third. But that to me, the bigger takeaway is not that Ferrari screwed up, but that, I mean, Max just dominated
Yeah.
thoroughly. There was no one competitive with him, and those Red Bulls were just quicker. Like, that was, Leclerc was trying to play a game to try and jump third into second, not get near Max, which tells you how dominant Max was.
Yeah. I mean, after the sprint race and the little battle between Leclerc and Max, I thought that was how it was going to be for the race. But in reality, Max just blew everyone out of the water, and he was on point throughout the entire race. It was a masterclass from him. And so Checo also, he held up Leclerc, and he did his job as the number two driver, and then gained, second place out of it. So Red Bull then finished 1-2. I think with Leclerc, he was definitely too aggressive, trying to get that. I don't know if he was trying to get second place or the fastest lap, but there were still damp parts of the track, and especially going into that chicane, I think he was way too aggressive, and he broke too late, and that was the result.
Yeah, and this is just another, credit to Max today, because Checo did a great job bringing the car home second, but he had a couple of offs where he went across the corner, got lucky, didn't beach the car.
Right.
Max drove faster than everyone else on track, did not have any trouble at all, and those conditions are tough. I think one of the things we saw today was just how talented. I mean, we already know this obviously, but how talented Max is, because you mentioned the sprint race; those cars were basically even. You got into here where the conditions a little changed, a little, it's more difficult to drive, and you saw that gap open.
Yeah.
That is the driver, and I
I
think he's still a bit better than Leclerc is, and we saw that today.
I mean, basically from this race, if you give Max a steady, reliable car who has good speed, solid speed in the straights, then more than likely he is going to be in the top three or winning the race. And that's just how talented he is right now. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And to me, there's going to be a lot of talk about how Lewis finished 13th, Russell finished up the field, I think, at fourth. But the story to me is the Red Bulls. They were just dominant, and Max seems to be in his zone again, where we kind of forget, because frankly he unjustifiably won the championship last year. He was right there with the best driver in history the whole
yeah,
season. Like, this kid can drive, and I think we saw that today, because these conditions are rough.
yeah,
And he, to be able to just pull out that lead and just hold it, make no mistakes, just cruise around the track in tough conditions where you see everyone else sliding all over the place, complaining left and right, and he's just out on a Sunday drive. Like, that is really impressive. The other thing, it was mentioned in the chat that the Mercedes is undrivable. I would say that to an extent, and certainly Russell's gotten the luck this year multiple
yeah,
times. Like today, when Ricardo took signs out and Bottas got collected in that mess, Russell just skated through from ninth to sixth.
hmm
So all the crap that Hamilton ended up getting caught in downfield, he missed. Now, he also qualified a couple of spots ahead, although we all so that came out of the qualifying to the sprint race, and we all know what happened, how Mercedes jacked up the qualifying too. But credit to him. But I think overall that package stinks. And so I don't know. I don't know if I would take too much away from Russell versus Hamilton, just because it's been a lot more down to who happened to be in the right place at the right time, because on pace that car is not competitive. And I'm unloading a conspiracy theory here, which we can maybe unpack a little more on Wednesday. I think Gasly intentionally didn't pass Albon to hold Hamilton up, because there's no way that when you see Tsunoda cutting through the field, you're telling me he couldn't get past the Williams when he had DRS for 30 laps, and Albon never had it.
yeah.
But if he gets past him, then Hamilton will get past him, and then you end up in a situation where Hamilton's just got DRS on Gasly, and then he'll get past him. But they both would have moved up the field, but
Right.
he sat there behind a Williams
It was
for 40 laps. To me,
fairly
to me, that was intentional.
That for sure. I didn't really, I didn't really expect Gasly to just stay put. Especially the kind of driver he is. I know he likes to at least finish in the top 10 every race. So
And and that's the thing. I think he had an opportunity to do that. If he goes past Albon, everyone else was kind of bunched up at there. He had a faster car, which Tsunoda was showing.
yeah.
That's why I think he held station with his DRS enabled, so that Lewis can also carve the field up behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think against the Red Bull Junior team, I think they made the decision. I'd rather finish 13th with Lewis and 14th than finish 10th with Lewis and 9th, and that's what they went for. Not
Right.
to mention that Ocon, like Lewis has just had a terrible year luck wise. That Ocon unsafe release. Look where Ocon was up the field. If Lewis was in the Mercedes up there, he would have had a chance to overtake people.
Yeah.
But the unsafe release, they gave Ocon a 5-second penalty, but it
Mm-hmm.
cost Lewis 4 or 5 grid spots.
Yeah.
And then it was difficult to overtake, so he got stuck again. So just bad weekend for Mercedes,
Just
great weekend for Red Bull, bad weekend for
uh,
Ferrari, great week for McLaren. I think is kind of the takeaway there.
yeah. I mean, with Lewis, obviously we know one of the best drivers ever. So to see him, not even finish in the top 10 is always disappointing. He had he just didn't have the luck on his side today.
But I
And
also he has in the past. Like I remember one of his last years at McLaren when he finished behind Jenson Button in the championship. The car wasn't good, and he kind of just like F this and just like kind of checked out. I wonder if we're getting into that. I think it's a little early, but
yeah,
Russell seems to be a lot more motivated right now than Hamilton. They both know the car is not championship quality and it's not going to happen. But
mhm,
I think for Russell, just being in a car that's competitive in the top, 6, 7 is great compared to where he was last year. And for
yeah,
Hamilton, this is a disaster. I think you can see a different. I think there's more motivation on Russell's sides right now, and more excitement about getting in that car. Whereas Hamilton's like, this thing sucks. I don't want to drive this.
yeah. There's definitely, I feel like, a different mindset um, right now in Mercedes, where Lewis is so used to competing at the top and dominating, pretty much, and the fact that the car is nowhere near competitive as far as his standards, you know, he might be not as motivated to drive, or maybe he's like you said, maybe he is like checking out and saying, "F this," this car isn't good enough, so why, go maximum effort, pretty much.
I don't know necessarily F. I just think it's hard to stay motivated when the car is that bad. And him sitting there, like he could have. I think if it was more competitive, at some point he would have like sent it on Gasly and said, you know what, I'm either going through or we're going out. But
Right.
what's the point to get into 13th?
Yeah.
Like at that point, just like, you know what, I'll just stay here. There's no point. So
Hmm.
you end up in that situation. Jack in the chat, one of our loyal listeners. So you missed a cameo from Jazz. No one else was available. That's why we to follow our Twitter. Said no show, then we scrambled and doing a quick hitter here. We'll have the full show on Wednesday with hopefully the whole pit crew. So that's where everyone is. Manny had to work. Jazz had like 5 minutes. He quickly joined from his phone. Um, I I do another conspiracy theory. Oh, he happens to not be able to join when Ferrari f's up the entire race, right? We've been
Right.
joining every single intro this
Every-
entire year has been him screaming about how great Ferrari is, and then this
right.
happens, and all of a sudden I gotta go in 2 minutes. Come on, man.
Yeah, the minute they screw up, he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be on right now." So,
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't. Do you have any other topics you want to talk? We kind of hit. I feel like everything. Austin getting a double points finish certainly impressive. So uh,
considering they were the only team not to score points so far this season, to have them score double points was impressive. I am going to revel in McLaren getting third, so I'm just happy about that. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else to add.
Yep. No, I think we got the quick points. This is just a quick reaction video. So we'll be back on Wednesday, 9:30 usual time. We'll break all this down. I'll accuse Jazz of intentionally dipping out on this because he didn't want to talk about what Ferrari just did. And yeah, we'll have some fun on Wednesday, and we'll talk a lot of papaya as well. So
All right,
again, thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back on Wednesday with the full show.
all right.